Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to episode 7 of the live unboxing series, sponsored by Shibcom, the 3PO that we all know and love. Happy to be here. I always like to get the chat humming a little bit in the beginning while people are hopping in. I see we got a bunch of people joining, so thank you all for coming. Um, Kicks off right at the top of the hour, but we'll have a couple of minutes of kind of downtime where we can make some introductions and talk about what we do for the folks that don't attend every week. This is a live unboxing seminar. We have Brandon and Wyatt here. Thank you guys both for being here. Clarence, Long Island, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, to get the chat going a little bit, where's everyone calling in from? Would love to hear where people are in the world. I'm down here in Washington, D.C. myself.
Uh,
Penny, LA, pleasure. 9 a.m. there. Appreciate you hopping on. That's good. Brooklyn. I used to live in Bed-Stuy. I lived there for a year, Samantha. That was my little like local spot in Brooklyn. I would go to Captain Dan's for half price burgers on Mondays. That was my spot. Oh, Chris, Fort Greene. Look at that, a neighbor. Um, but anyway, love to see people using the chat. That's the goal, is to get as many people excited and commenting in the chat as possible. As you know, for this live unboxing series, what we have is a group of 4 brands who have raised their hand to, submit some products. We've picked some registrants and bought some products. We have RecPack. We have WeNadle, a fantastic brand. I know a lot about myself. We have Foco, and then a little Bird Dogs, believe it or not, at the end. What we always do, what we do throughout the week, so everyone's fingers getting ready to type some numbers, right, is we rate each unboxing experience. We think about the customer experience, how Brandon felt, receiving the product, unboxing it, etc. The brand perception, where there's some inserts, some branding on the box. What was the perception of the package experience? And then packaging effectiveness, which we essentially look at as, you know, from the second I clicked checkout, you know, did I feel as though I was, treated with respect, that the courier got the product here on time? Was I happy with what I paid for express shipping versus standard versus, all these expectations that people think about, when they're ordering stuff online and, in this e-commerce world that everyone on the call knows and loves so well. So anyway, um, I felt like I was just talking for 15 minutes. I was talking for 3. Pretty good. That's not bad. But we
you're
have some
such.
wonderful folks on the call, so I'll pass it off to Brandon and Wyatt. Let them introduce themselves, and we'll have some fun here today.
Yeah, we didn't get your nice little silhouette picture up there for you, Wyatt. So you're gonna have to just take a screenshot of your face and tell us who you are.
Yeah,
And
drop
welcome.
it in the
Welcome
chat.
to the episode 7. It's nice to have you,
Episode
buddy.
7. This is exciting. Yeah, how's it going, everyone? My name's Wyatt Belden. I have worked in e-commerce for, almost close to a decade at this point. All sides of the business, right? From the brand side to, the tech side, agency, kind of everything in between. I am the co-founder along with Jack at Welcome Stranger. We're all about generating educational content for people, especially if you're newer to e-commerce. We were all new at one point. There's a lot of stuff that you don't know, and we've been there. And so, we put on these webinars weekly and just try to have really fun people like Brandon. And, this kind of turned into a whole series. So, really excited. Also super passionate about 3PLs. Something that Brandon and Jack don't know is that when I was a kid, my dad actually had a little e-commerce business selling flashlights and electronics and other sorts of things. And we did not have a 3PL, which meant that every single holiday season, our entire living room and dining room was turned into a 3PL, basically.
Mhm.
It was a packaging facility. So from a very young age, I have been, packaging boxes, putting, flashlights on those sorts of things, taking it out of our barn, and then putting labels on it and dropping it off at the UPS trucks. And so really excited to be here, really excited to look through these packages and just talk about the overall ordering experience and go from there.
Awesome, man. That is a cool story. And that's where a lot of brands start off, is picking and packing stuff in their own backyard, in their garage, doing the whole deal. And then they decide at some point, depending on how the brand goes and how big it gets, hey, we need to use somebody else. So that's where we come into play. Brandon Hamreister, those of you that are new today, thank you so much for hopping on. Make sure you check the little webinar chat and you move it to everyone, because we do grade these things. So if it's just hosts and panelists, then not everybody else gets to see the grades. So it's really cool when everybody kind of pops in their ratings and stuff like that. I'll just dovetail a little bit off what Jack said is, we've set the bar. So we've had like 1 or 2 9.9s and 1 9.1. And those were like, from our perspective, ordered fast, got here fast. All the packaging and material was branded. There was custom inserts. Everything came in a beautiful kind of setup like there. So that I'm just throwing the high bar at where we're at. And then we've had stuff I ordered from Amazon, and the shampoo bottle was busted, and I had shampoo all over my freaking clothes and stuff like that after. And that was kind of like a 2, right? 2, 3. So just to give you a little bit of a scale, from full experience to when we actually open it here today is what we're grading it on. So feel free to chime in and give your score. Don't be shy. There's no perfect score. There's no expert here except for Jenny. I think Jenny was pretty dialed in last week with nailing those ratings, and she's back again this week. So I'm super excited to have you on there again. So there she is. Yeah.
If
So
your score is close to Jenny's, you're in the ballpark.
yeah,
Probably.
you're doing good. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into unboxing. We got some cool stuff to do today, and yeah, this is a lot of fun. And feel free to light the chat up. We love everybody's opinions and thoughts. So those of you that don't know, again, we're not changing the game as much. We're not recreating the wheel every week, but here's why Shipcom was created. We're here to service e-commerce brands. So we're a storage, warehouse, and fulfillment center. We have almost 400,000 square feet in the US, where we store products of all shapes and sizes, and we ship them all over the world, and they sometimes show up at your doorstep, and sometimes you're buying them off the shelves of Target, and sometimes you're ordering off of Target, and it's very likely that we probably shipped it to you. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in, and we have a lot of help with our team and everybody to kind of make those experiences come to life for you as an e-commerce brand. And what drives us every day is making our customers more successful. That's really a simple North Star for us. As long as you're more successful and we can help you in any way, whatever that looks like, as you grow the logistics complexity and add new stores and add new selling channels, and TikTok viral videos went viral. We just want to be a support person, a support company for you to help you scale. And so how do we do that? We remove barriers to growth. So one of the things we do is omni-channel fulfillment, which we'll touch on a little bit, but the ability to do not only direct to consumers. You stood up your website, you got your Shopify store going, or your WooCommerce store, and that's going amazing, but you want to do Amazon, or you want to do Walmart, Target, Nordstrom, right? Those all require different technology requirements, specifications, and the way you pick and pack orders, and we can help support that as a 3PL. And create more customer happiness. Get your order out on time, make sure it ships right, and it's the right thing. Okay, so just get that done, as a 3PL, and you'll have repeat buyers. We've done it plenty of times on here where we've bought some stuff and we probably won't buy again because of the experience. And it is what it is. And all of you actually in here agreed to a lot of that stuff. Like, I wouldn't buy this again. Like, no way. It took 5 days when I paid 2-day shipping, so those are things that the 3PL can impact as well. And then and the number one thing I look at is trying to improve your unit economics. So how can we save you money? Specifically around freight and parcel. UPS, FedEx, USPS, DHL, all that kind of fun stuff that really affects your bottom line, especially when you're selling a $30, $40 product. Every penny counts. And we have tools and tips and different ways of looking at that stuff for you that we can really kind of help your brand out. And yeah, that's what we're here for. So let's get into our first unboxing.
So without further ado,
Brandon, do you mind if I introduce this one?
Of course not. Thank you. Yeah, I would love to take a little break.
I actually have had the pleasure of emailing back and forth with Deed about this. He's the founder of RecPack. Really cool product. He's a former Marine, outdoorsman, and the whole point of this product is complete nutrition that's very portable, easy to take with you. A long time ago, I was a wildland firefighter and, would spend my summers on a fire engine traveling around the state of California fighting wildfires. And unfortunately, in doing that, you end up eating MREs for weeks at a time, and they're disgusting and they make you feel awful afterwards. And they have like 4,000% of your daily sodium intake in there.
What's an MRE?
It's a meal ready to eat. So military
Ah,
service, people who are going to be
yeah.
out for a long time. It comes in this little, kind of brown gray box, a bunch of different flavors. Has a little packet in there, so you can basically mix the packet with water, and it creates a chemical reaction, and you stick the food inside, and then it heats it up for you, and then you're just kind of eating food out of a bag. But anyway, moral of the story, I would have loved something like RecPack when I was doing this. I'm really excited about this one. Should be a really cool product.
Yeah, and that's essentially, I mean, Deed's on the call, but like that, from when I look at the marketing on the product, it looks like a new age, non-traditional MRE in a lot of respects, right?
Yeah. And potentially better flavors too. So
I was gonna say
Much
the
better.
flavor optionalities look a little good there. Love that. So one of the things we do is we talk about like when we bought it, how much the shipping was, when it got here, because that's part of the whole deal, right? So this was bought on 5/23, 10:30 a.m. To be exact, and those two, and it arrived on 5:30. So standard shipping got here, 4 or 5 days, with the weekends included, of course. $25.95 for the product, and shipping was only $4.50. So ground shipping, and yeah, it came in pretty quick. So let's just do this here.
what Jenny just said too, it was a holiday weekend as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's right,
one.
from last week. So we're gonna work, just so everybody knows, we're getting some good feedback on our webinars, and feel free to give us feedback as we're actually not webinars, these are episodes, these are shows on just the overall aesthetics and the way that we do things here. We got some feedback last week. Believe it or not, our parents are typically the first to be critical of all of us, and my dad happened to hop on the webinar last week, and right after he goes, "Hey, every time you're unboxing, when someone else talks, I can't see the product." So we're gonna work on getting some 2 cameras here and work on that for you guys. But anyways, if you have feedback to us, we love our loyal fans. Just let us know what's going on, and we try to get improved here. So I got into this too quick. I got excited, but great label. It's good barcode, as I always like to make sure and check. The label placement's great. It's right in the middle. Ground shipping, clean, easy for the carriers to pick up and grab and toss wherever they need to. So gotta love that. This came from Utah, and I'm in Indiana, as you guys all know. So pretty good delivery time there. Shipped out the same day. Ship date was 5/23. Cool here. Eco enclose. So we got a little sustainable poly bag, right? Gotta love that. So that's kind of on there, so we know that that's happening. Yeah, get into any of this. So we open it up, and we're empty here with anything inside as far as inserts or anything like that, which is totally fine. Just kidding. There's an insert in the middle. Look at that. Oh, we love this. So this is something that we talked about last week. Big fan of. This is welcome to RecPack, little logo here, and a little gift card, like a little insert, which is really sweet. I'm always a big fan of these because of mainly it gives rebranding, gives me something quickly that I can come back. Oh yeah, Jenny, it is signed. You better believe it. He did get on that for us, gave us a little hand signature. It's got his name on there, which is a nice touch. And then there's a QR code, which if I go, I get to reorder and get a little discount, which is something we talked about last week, which is really, really neat. So this is a huge resale, huge opportunity for, checkout cart, improving checkout conversion for repeat customers, I should say. I'll go back because I have this now. Why not? And this is just a really nice touch. So very cool. Service disabled, veteran owned. Gives a little story about the product. Thank you for your order. We hope RecPack fuels your adventure. A review on Amazon would really help our small business. So love that. And then, yeah, you've got the cool package here. So a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah, interesting.
So decent size, as you guys can see here, and very cool. And the next thing is, I'm going to add some water to this after this show, and I'll give you guys a review, let you know how it tasted. So here we are.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest, that's a tough first act to follow. Wyatt, I mean, I'd like to, this is your first episode 7 in doing these with Brandon. I'd love to hear your first thoughts on everything. I mean, like really quickly, like, just on like the brand experience with that insert. I always say they need a QR code. That felt really friendly. The hand signature was a huge win. The eco-friendly poly mailer, maybe they could have, I don't know, put a logo on the poly mailer, but I don't, who knows when it comes with, certain shipping standards and time frames. And then $4.50 for shipping, and it got there quicker than expected is like everyone knows on these episodes. That's my biggest pet peeve. Like 3 days after, I'm expected to get the package and I don't reorder. Like I'll go find a different moisturizer type of, customer experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway,
Can you
I'd like
guys
to hear
see
what you
this?
think.
This is where the QR code lands me, Jenny asked. So I get another 20% claim offer here. There's a video. No thanks, I'll pay full price. I'm not really we'll definitely use that code next time. But yeah, and then a little video. So that's where it takes me to go and purchase. So yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think? Also scores in the chat while Wyatt's thinking through his.
Yeah.
Definitely drop in. Decimals encouraged.
Well, I think that like one thing that I liked about this is the packaging was really minimal. With some products, obviously you have to have a little bit more of, a protective package, but this is a product that's designed to go in the outside of a backpack and be hauled around, up a mountain, right? And have that backpack be picked up and dropped off your shoulder, you know, 30, 40 times a day, right? This product's going to be durable. And so you don't necessarily need the packaging. And I think that for the target market too, people who are, into the outdoors and hiking a lot, right? They don't want a ton of additional packaging. I think that the note is a really, really amazing touch, hand signed by deed, the QR code to order again. Like, this is it's green flags. The biggest thing, my biggest critique is like it would be great to see some additional branding, like you said, on the outside of the packaging. And that's about it. I mean that package is a walking advertisement for you. You may as well put some stuff on it. Also love seeing the eco-friendly packaging as well. So yeah, I'm in the mid to high eights as well. With Clarence. I'm gonna go with an 8.6.
I'm gonna
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8 myself.
Nice. 8.86. We got some 8s from Penny, 7.9 from Dave, Clarence with the 8.99. And then the expert Jenny, just kidding, but kind of not. 7.5. Mark 8.75. Love to see logo on the outside. Yeah, I think that's where I land too. I think Wyatt, you bring up an amazing point. It's like you're not selling jewelry or also some like crazy expensive like joggers or high-end athletic wear where you need to have probably branding all over it. I do think that you could put a logo on the bag on the outside. I think it'd be cool, and even potentially get QR codes on the outside of the bag. But I think for when it was bought, the cost of shipping, which is great too, delivery time. And then the way that, Jenny mentioned it too, that whoever packed it, which I really like, because that's something that we do, is they put the card inside in between the two products. So the card didn't get wrecked. So that was a cool touch. Like that was actually, someone was actually thinking, hey, I need to make sure this comes here and it doesn't get all bangled up and stuff like that. So they can actually use the QR code. So Yeah, big fan. And I'm gonna go just because of where we land in the world of things. I'm gonna go with an 8.2 on that. I like an 8.2 just because it's getting, yeah, like a little extra decimal point. And the overall just, yeah, good feel and handwritten note. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a high score from stuff I've seen on this series. Don't forget, like
Yeah.
there's going to be a winner at the end of this. So, you know, stick in, make your scores, and we will crown this week's episode 7 winner. Um,
Yeah. Oh, I was just changing the slide. Don't have to cut you off, buddy.
I just lost my train of thought. Classic
Oh, that's okay.
senior
Yeah.
moment.
You want to let's all stop and wait for you to get it back.
Oh, no, I'm good. No, I just want to say that was great. I really did enjoy that,
I'm
and
kidding.
I'm happy that I'm happy that Deed got to be there for it too. So kudos, Deed. That was wonderful.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Absolutely. I'm excited to try it out too. So I'll just, guys, again, people that are new to the webinar, this is something, that's obviously important to every brand is how do you reduce shipping costs, optimizing packaging, leveraging shipping zones. Those are things that you can do on your own as a brand. Something that I believe Deed actually did here, optimize the packaging, right? Poly bags are usually a lot less expensive than boxes. Leverage shipping zones, right? So having, that's sometimes tougher to do as a brand as you're growing, but as you get to a certain size, having multiple warehouses, and again, if you don't want to run multiple warehouses, having a 3PL, leveraging that, can really save on delivery time, but also the cost. We call it zone skipping, stuff like that, where you can be in different multiple locations, and something can, you just have a smarter location and a better location for where your customers are at to save on cost. So those are things that you can for sure do, stuff that if you want some consultation on, we can chat about it, talk through your business, what you're up to today, where you want to be in the future, and how you kind of reduce those shipping costs, because it is a bit of a science too, and also like how you connect with your rep and what data do you need to provide and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, actually makes a great point. Chris, our colleague who's on the call, and he remains faceless, but his name is here. If anyone wants to learn a little bit behind the science, Chris, drop a link in the chat for folks too if they want. But Brandon, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I did have a quick question, right? Because like I noticed the rec pack was shipped, you mentioned from Utah, and like I'm always curious about this, is like you kind of being a professional in this space, like
Oh.
from that experience, would you say that you could make an assumption that Deed uses a 3PL, or that he's running his own? Like, because I like the idea of like, how do you work backwards from, just trying to get a deeper understanding only from something like, the parcel sticker.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, well, the answer could be both. I don't know that based on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
label. The only way that I could know that is if it came from, so like when we send something, it typically has like a shipcom. It'll say shipcom in care of shipcom, and then also the company's name. So people will know if it's a 3PL. Some 3PLs do that, some don't. Most of the time when it's just the brand, I typically make an assumption that they're doing it on their own.
Yeah.
I don't, and then it's also based on the size of the company too. There's a certain point in a revenue size and just complexity that you want or should or absolutely need to use a 3PL. I also have always been a fan of recommending when brands are starting off to do it on your own, kind of like what Wyatt's family did when they first were starting off. His dad was, just because you get to see what's happening and get to learn that side of the business as well. So that's always some recommendation depending on where you are and how big you are. But there are 3PLs in Utah for sure, all day long. There's 3PLs in every major city here in the US for sure. I couldn't tell from this specific package, but yeah, my gut though is that they're fulfilling on their own right now.
No, because I think about it, and not to go on this cold, crazy side, but like with Cece, like when we spoke with her, right? Like I've just noticed that a lot of the times the big brands that, have 5 million, orders a month or whatnot, it's like the experience is like a lot of the times just from doing this for 7 episodes, like the experience that we get from the people shipping it themselves, is kind of a nicer experience a lot of the time,
Yeah.
you know?
It, it's the hardest thing for a brand to actually hand that off to a 3PL when you're growing your business. And because you're now trusting humans you don't even know, and this is your baby, and you've built this thing up and it's doing really well. And the last thing you want to do is hand it off to a bunch of random people that are just not going to take the care that you put into the brand. And
Yeah.
that's why finding the right 3PL that can actually do that for you and take on that customization, like writing that note. Like we do that for brands if they want us to write a note. And obviously it's not them, but at least we're writing it, on behalf of the brand. Other things that you can do, but that's a tough deal. And I totally am sympathetic around that with brands. It's like, I don't want to just hand this off to this big warehouse. Like, how does that going to work? So those are big decisions, but
Yeah.
at some point you don't, you kind of like, you can't keep shipping out of your garage in your closet or even a small warehouse if you want to be, you know the Gruns of the world, whatever that might look like, right? Like the big brands. So
Yeah, I was gonna say Chad Janis, the founder of Grun's, a friend. And I think that one thing that's really interesting about being a founder is the most valuable asset that you have is your time, right? Like that is like the most important and expensive thing. And I mean, going through my personal experience, obviously this was long before Shopify and all of that. You're spending anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day just doing packaging, like how do you go back in and run ads, and how do you promote your business, and how do you drive more traffic and help and grow? It's really a barrier to entry until you hand this piece of the puzzle off to someone else.
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, 100%. It's exactly right.
And I can hand it off and save $200,000. That doesn't sound half bad.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
this is
Look
a
at that
good
now.
little slide to be like, hey, just so you know. So like, listen, there's a lot of like talk in the world, and people talk a lot of shit and say a lot of stuff, and like, how do you back it up, right? This is just us showing, and 3PLs do this all day long. I'm not special in any way. There's savings there, and this is just a real world example of something that we did a full unit economic analysis on a brand who was fulfilling out of their own warehouse in San Diego, swimwear brand, and with their labor, their overhead, their whole deal, and bringing it into our world using our rates and obviously our labor and all those things, we saved them $250,000 a year, in just savings on cost, and I think that you continue to drive that number up with more orders and all that other stuff too, right? So those dollars can be repurposed anywhere else, and these are the things that we do and what we can help brands look at, and try to support and get that data back to you so we can kind of have good conversations and see if there's a fit. And this is another like example of what we can look at is what parcel carrier should we use. There's so many of them out there. We use ones that aren't even on here too, that diversify all the different types of carriers out there, and just really try to get the best cost, at the end of the day, because it's the biggest thing that affects all of us. It affects my business, it affects your all business. I mean, parcel and carrier, it's the one we have least control over, right? So understanding it at a depth that we do, negotiating it for you, working on all that stuff is something that we love to do, and it's something that we can take a look at, and we can do this kind of exercise for any brand if they're willing to.
And one thing to add in here too, we've had a few brands so far who've come on this, webinar series and have grabbed time with Brandon and actually done this parcel analysis with him. And I mean, it's a completely free thing to do. Whether or not you want to end up working with a 3PL or with ShipCalm, this adds a lot of value to your business. You can at least see, hey, look, this is how much I'm paying. This is how I should be negotiating my rates. So I mean, like, cannot recommend it enough. We've had a lot of really happy people walk away from that call. So definitely recommend grabbing some time with him.
Absolutely. Thank
You
you,
know what
sir.
I recommend? Let's do another
Yeah.
unboxing. How about that?
Jack's,
All right.
Jack's favorite thing to do. All right.
Uh,
Renatal. Yeah. You want
this is
to
also,
intro this one?
yeah, sure. This is actually another brand. I'm trying to remember who we were emailing back and forth with. Chris, I
Penny.
don't know.
It was Penny.
Yeah, Penny. Emailing back and forth with Penny as well. There we go. Penny's on here. Penny, we're really excited to unbox this today. We also love it when the brands are actually on the call. So we'll definitely try to be nicer to y'all. But really appreciate
I'm typically more aggressive when the brands are on the call, right? Isn't that how it goes? No, I'm
yeah,
joking.
exactly.
So this is a good example of like, I think this is a 3PL because it's coming from Boss Inc., Boss Kanaga in Imperial, Pennsylvania. And the brand, of course, is We Natal. So here we go. We've got, oh, yes, she is. Yes. Improve. She is 3PL. Cool. All right. Appreciate the honesty.
Oh, wow.
All
That's
right.
fantastic.
All righty. So I'll just get a little closer to me. So not bad as far as like label. It's kind of right here. I don't think this mark here is going to affect anything in any real serious way, but that's the barcode there. And we did 5:30 order, and we got here on 6/4. So good ground shipping, which is great. And we paid, I think it was $5 for shipping, so reasonable cost. So no complaints there. It was 1 pound, so it hit the 1 pound mark. And yeah, Pennsylvania, so it's relatively close to Indiana, which is good. And yeah, we've got a standard kind of Uline box, just kind of hanging out here. So, which is totally fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm already curious about space in there.
But
Yeah.
not bad. I can feel, oh, it moved. Yep. That's true. All righty. So I got my trusty knife. This is the top of the box, so I'm going to open it this way because this is something making sure that it was packed right side up. Okay. Okay. We've got bottle here, glass bottle, right? And you can see, in my opinion, there's a lot of room here. Potential room for void fill. If anything, put some void fill in here so it's not banging around. It is a glass bottle.
I mean,
The
the bottle's
packaging,
glass.
yeah. Now the packaging is pretty solid, like from their company's perspective. But at the same time, like if I'm the packer, like put something in here just to make sure it doesn't move around. So just a recommendation there. The carriers don't know what's in here, especially. So we had Clarence last week who sent barbecue sauce, and it was very well packed. I think Penny, you were on actually last week. But he put a fragile sticker on here too. And again, I think your bottle is going to be fine, but sometimes it gives just the carriers a little bit more care when they're using these, because other than that, they're usually just whipping these things around. So I just get concerned with this little bit of this. And we got a packing slip, which is great, which means we got what we wanted, which is perfect. So we can check off that. And yeah, we could use, I think again, we just looked at maybe some marketing inserts, some welcome cards, anything that could kind of help create a good experience for the purchaser again. But really nice bottle box, I should say, very solid. And this is the hydration bottle, which is pretty cool. And I'll just open it up.
Yeah, so clearly, Penny, you were thinking about some protective from your box side of things.
Yeah. Yep. And we got the kind of wrap on this, which just gives a little bit of extra protection. And then it's it's got the product itself isn't like the glass is here. You guys can't hear that, but it's got the silicone kind of cover on it too. So it's a pretty solid piece of equipment here. I probably wouldn't whip it against my wall, but I might be able to drop that and see what's going on. But this is a really nice bottle. Just for what it's worth, this is actually like a really nice product. Anybody who's interested in like a new bottle or something like that, this is actually a really good quality product because it's really, really nice. So yeah, that's where we're at. We stood here and we've got it all kind of dialed in. Again, yeah, I look at this. I think there's some improvement in on the picking and packing side of things. The shipping cost was great. So like that was awesome. It got here in really good time. And yeah, I'm interested to hear kind of everybody's score.
Yeah. Well, I think that I look at this now after, watching 7 episodes of this show, where when I see a box like that with a lot of empty space, I think that, me as the consumer, I'm the one who's paying for that,
Yeah.
I'm the one who's paying for the larger box. Um, I definitely think marketing material will be really nice. Brandon, was there anything else inside of the inner box, the white box, or was it just the bottle? Yeah.
Just the bottle. Yeah, just the bottle on the inside. You know what? You bring up what actually I'm curious. I wonder if Penny is going to, I'm going to ask her a question here. So $5 for shipping. I might think the shipping was actually more, but you didn't want to pass it on to the customer and you just wanted to give them just a flat $5 shipping because that's an odd, just a flat even number for shipping. So I think you as the um, owner covered the difference, which is fine. A lot of brands do that, but it'd be interesting to see actually how much this actually did cost. And if it wasn't just $5 to me, the consumer, if you actually had like a $10 bill or an $11 bill, because that's going to eat into your margin pretty quickly, especially with that void and extra space in there. So you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looks like Penny just put in the chat that they actually charge less for low value orders, which I think is really great because I mean, we're gonna have a product on here next, and it's something that I actually ordered for Brandon that the shipping was almost as much as the packaging and or as the product itself, right? And so that's never a good look. So I appreciate that, but yeah, I agree with your point, Brandon. That's gonna eat into margins pretty fast.
Wow, what a good point. But Brandon, God, you are so smart with this stuff. You are exactly right, essentially. Um, Look at that. I'm surprised we haven't seen a score from Jenny yet. I
She's checking out. She's just asking questions. She's trying to,
I
she's
was
getting there.
thinking, if you guys will entertain me, I was thinking good timing. I'm gonna raise my score because I know that Penny is like eating some of the shipping costs, which makes me even become more of a lifetime fan of the brand, which, I have a fiance now, so we may need this somewhere down the future. But between that, the timing, between the room in the box, a little bit of no like peanuts or some type of like, and then no fragile sticker on the box. I mean, and that's all stuff that like the 3PL should think of. I mean, you're right, Brandon. It's the difference between throwing it down a flight of stairs and glancing at a fragile sticker and saying, "Oh, maybe I won't do that."
Yeah.
And it doesn't save them all the time, but um, I'm gonna go with a 6.5.
Right around with Jenny. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah. So, and Jenny, you asked if we could talk about like options for customers paying for shipping. I have some thoughts around that. I'm absolutely, if we have time today, I'd love to. We can chat a little bit. I also, you and I can connect too. We can just talk through whatever you want to. I see it with, we have almost 200 customers, ship thousands and thousands and thousands of packages a day. And I see all kinds of different things that we can take a look at. So, uh, I love that. Yeah, let's do that. So, yeah, I think I go to, so here's, yeah. Well, let's hear it. With scores are coming into Wyatt's got to do his.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think, Wyatt?
I'm gonna go with a 7-2. It's like the biggest thing, right? I think the most important thing that we talk about on here is, does the product show up on time, for a reasonable price, right? Like that's from a consumer side of the things. I think that that's a really important thing to look at, and this absolutely checked that criteria, right? Obviously, it's kind of a no frills experience, though. There wasn't even anything in the inner box, right? Which should be, another, space that you could add in additional marketing material, other sorts of stuff there. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7-2. I think that it showed up on time. It seems like it's a really great product as well. It seems like it's super durable. Nothing's broken. Like we've had stuff that we've sent to Brandon overnight, and we had some shampoo a while ago, and it was open, right? And like leaking all over his hands, and he's in the middle of trying to run this webinar. Poor guy. But
Poor
I
guy.
think that everything is there, right? There's nothing that's like wrong, but there's a lot more that could be right. So those are my thoughts.
I think it's great feedback. Yeah, for me, I just look because I care so much about like you, Penny, and like the customer and Jenny and Clarence and everybody on the call. Just the fact that, you have and it's a business decision, so I get it, but the fact that that was probably, I'm guessing that's going to be a $10 or $11 because of the way they package that and the size and weight of it. You know, you just ate $6, in my opinion. We can take a look at that stuff, but that dropped your $30 sale value down to $24, you know, as far as like, and that's just not even including all of the cost and everything else to, and this, and again, this bottle might be just like one of those, it might not be your leader, you know, I sell, you see Omega, DHA, beautiful branding, beautiful product. I just
Yeah.
look at that and go, you know what, 3PL, like, be better a little bit. I also like the box is super clean. So I'm just gonna say, like, you guys can't, this is just like, it's nice, it's clean, very, very cool. I would add just a little flair as far as the packing inserts and the marketing inside, maybe, and again, the filler inside. But I think overall delivery, shipping costs, like as a consumer, like I'm going back to We Natal, and that's something that we would, is what we always like to look at too. So I think there's definitely some work on the 3PL side that I'm partial to. There's a little bit of improvement on branding, but I'm going to go 7.5. So
Whew, 7.5. I like it. Right in between um, myself and Wyatt score, I think, if I remember correctly. Okay, 7.5. Well
yeah.
done.
So, and anybody feel free to keep adding scores, you know, get engaged. We love you guys' feedback. It really drives these, you know, these shows as well. We love hearing what you guys have to say and the questions in the comments.
Yep, indeed,
Um,
leading the charge. Don't forget, we have two more, but we have we're starting to see a first and second place develop.
We are. It's going. It's going. So, you know, again, those that are new, we talk a little bit about omni-channel fulfillment. What is it? You know, it's just having, it's the ability to be in multiple selling channels and multiple stores, and it just gets really complex. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. It's, you know, and those of you that do it already, you know, those of you that know about it, it's hard to manage inventory across 14 different selling channels, manage supply chain and deal with all that stuff. And as you continue to scale into omni-channel fulfillment and, you know, shipping into retail stores and also shipping into just your Shopify store, you know, those things get complex. And so you got to have a place where you have centralized inventory. Don't try to have, it's hard, and you could do what you want. It just, I don't recommend fulfilling on your own and also using a 3PL, and definitely don't use multiple 3PLs. Try to be with one if you're going to be using it. And that helps kind of just keep the inventory kind of nestled in one place. And it's really a lot easier to manage that. And then have a smart order routing system, you know. If it's a New York order, you know, use the warehouse from the East Coast. There's no reason why you should be sending something from the West Coast, you know, and those types of things are really helpful, and you can save money for a brand. And then if you're doing it on your own or you're using a 3PL, like, the brand experience is huge, and you know, have a unified brand experience across all selling channels. You know, your stuff should look the same on Walmart and Amazon and your D2C store across that place. And those are just some, you know, kind of tips and tricks to help you stand out and kind of differentiate yourself a little bit, you know, when you're out there. But omni-channel fulfillment, I will tell you, I say it all the time, I'm no bigger proponent than me out here, because I just think having the more eyes you can have on your product, the better. And yeah, there's a cost of entry of getting out there, but you know, if I Google, you know, prenatal or women's, you know, pregnancy products, you know, I want to see We Natal on Amazon and, you know, CVS and Target potentially, and wherever it needs to be, you know, and you got to be on those stores to get those eyes as well. So yeah, so we're gonna do something a little different than we normally do. So I got sent this video actually, by actually our CEO, who has been super pumped about, you know, kind of what we're doing here with the unboxing. And he was like, hey, you got to check this out. So there's this new, one of the things we do here is we give tips around packaging, like what kind
Yeah.
of packaging you should use, right? Yeah, like try to get creative, do all these things, think ahead, you know, get some cornstarch, mushroom, recycled materials. But we don't actually like show you what some of this stuff looks like. We just kind of yap and yap and yap and yap. So we found this cool product, and I'm going to actually, I'm going to order it and get it here so we can all see it. But let me just see if I can pull this up here. I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. I think it's best I hit the escape button here. There we go. And there's no voice on it. I mean, there is sound, but we're not gonna listen to this guy. I'm just gonna talk over it. But it's a really cool packaging product that I just saw come out. It's coming out of China, and it checks on all the boxes that we always talk about: eco-friendly, saving on space. Like, this is a perfect example of WeNato that just came out, and it's like, you could actually use this type of packaging where it lowers your costs just because of the way they combine everything. So I'm going to show you guys just this quick little video. It's something that I'm going to order. We'll talk about it. Hopefully I get it here next week. If not, it'll be the week after that. But I think, like, these are the things that you also come here for, is like, what are that kind of cool shit is going on out there? So let me see. Just make sure you can see this, right, Jack?
Yeah.
All right. So again, this has some sound, but I'm just gonna, you guys can kind of read a little bit of that. Oops. Yeah.
No, this is perfect.
So basically, you guys can see look at this. It's like this. So it removes all this wrap, cutting down on waste and shipping. So it like molds with the product. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh, Jenny? So they have different sizes of this stuff, and then you just slam it down and you put a label on it and zip this thing up. So I'll show it one more time just because it went by pretty quick. But I'm going to order some of this stuff. Hopefully it comes in. We can play around with it, take a look and see what it does. And this actually is worthwhile for anybody, but it isn't in the US yet. This is strictly in China. And I thought it was kind of cool to show you guys, like, and this is kind of some of the shit that's kind of coming up. It's just, that's a good question. What's it made of? I believe it's eco-friendly, like recycled cardboard. That's the whole deal. It's supposed to be like saving the environment and stuff like that.
Also, good room for a packing slip in there, I thought. You know me, packing slip Jack. First thing I thought of.
I'm
Packing
excited
slap Jack.
the box unboxing, we can go do, and
Box unboxing, yeah.
looking at the packaging.
Yeah. So thought that was kind of cool. All right. Foco, right? Is that how you say that?
Yes. Wyatt, you ordered this one, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I think Brandon has all the details pulled up, but
I do. Yeah, I got you.
I'll let Brandon do it. And I'm not sure. Is there anyone from Foco on the call today? Just would love to know, before we dive in.
Oh,
Right.
Oh.
that's all right. Okay. So Foco bag. Ooh. Uh-oh. Little rip there. Little rip. Someone was checking out my product before I got here. So got here, we ordered 530. Okay. $30 product. Paid for 2-day shipping. All right. $20 for shipping. And it got here yesterday. So, we're going to start this off here. Everybody knows how we feel about this. The shipping cost was the same amount as the product almost, and it didn't even get here in the 2 days that it was supposed to. So that was disappointing. What I will say, this is interesting, is my guess is it's coming from Foco Returns. Can't tell if it's a 3PL or not, but it didn't ship till Tuesday. Yet we ordered this on Friday, so it sat in the warehouse for 3 days. So that's why we didn't get it till yesterday. So that's a warehouse issue, fulfillment issue, not on the brand. Totally not the brand's fault unless you're running your own warehouse, but that's definitely a thing. And then the barcode is kind of covered up with this little sticker here. But this is just a standard kind of poly bag. Again, if you guys recall, we paid $4.50 shipping for a heavier product, same size with Rectum, right? So with the protein drinks and stuff like that. So kind of crazy where we're at here. In that we just paid $20 for this. So not gonna lie to you, we're off to a rough start.
Yeah.
Brandon,
I was gonna say, Wyatt, do you remember what time of the day you ordered it?
10:30 in the morning. Yeah, I ordered them all at the same time.
Oh, so 10:30 in the morning on Friday. And what I've learned from you, Brandon, is that, and I'll stop talking so we can see the package, excuse me, but if you order it before noon, it should probably get out same day if you're working with the 3PL, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
2 days.
Sorry, Penny. Yeah, I gotta hook up. We gotta get a better camera. Zoom in. I think I'll get it as close as I can. So Tuesday, yeah, it kind of gets a little blurry, but Tuesday the 3rd is when it actually fulfilled, when this label was printed. So, and then we got it ripped a little bit here. Now, what's interesting is it also says it's coming from their returns department. So my guess is this thing's been tried on before.
Well, what's funny is that it's a New York Knicks shirt, you know, and the Knicks just lost. So
No, that's awesome. Someone sent it back. So nothing inside. You know, pretty basic as expected. It's a Bella Canvas t-shirt, so not very custom. I mean, they've got their logo on here, but you know, something to think about just from a brand perspective. Maybe get these tags taken off, you know, because Bella Canvas, we know they're big, they do their thing. It's fine, it's all good. But anyways, that's the New York Knicks shirt here. They are eliminated from the NBA playoffs, probably because you know they have fans that buy these things. Um, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, we had Samantha Kane on the call too. I remember her. She was from Brooklyn, New York, so maybe she's a Knicks.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a Nets fan. Who knows? But
I will say they got Foco kind of on the t-shirt, which is cool. Pretty sweet. But yeah, pretty pedestrian.
will you wear it?
Yeah, I'll wear it. Of course.
sweet.
I'll wear it. Yeah,
That's
of
good.
course. I'll definitely wear it. Probably gonna wash it first, but I'll wear it.
Um, well, what do you think? What do you guys think? I mean, a ripped bag, bad timing for a smaller order, you know, like, and then a warehouse issue. You can't blame that on a brand. Like the fact that it said return, this is a new thing for us. You know, I'm sure, you know, if these guys do, you know, 1,000 orders a day, they get something back, they slap the new label on it and they toss it out the door, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't know. The bag being ripped kind of kills me. I think I gotta go like with timing.
Mhm.
That's my biggest thing. I'm gonna go for a 4.5.
yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah, don't apologize, Jenny. You just let it rip.
you know, I mean, like, let's just compare this to We Natal, right? You know, ordered at the exact same time. You know, I believe the water bottle that we got from We Natal was less expensive than the shirt, right? And I can almost guarantee you that the margins on the shirt are much higher than the water bottle. It's a $30 t-shirt
Mhm.
that probably cost them under $2 to make, $3 to make, right? And you know, we paid $20 for shipping, and both products got in at the same time. You know, there's no packaging around the shirt as well, which I think is, you know, like the poly mailers are kind of gross. You know, you're opening up something that's usually kind of damaged and just gunky and weird. And, you know, there's no packaging around the actual shirt and it's ripped, you know,
Yep.
you know, it's, you know, I talked about, you know, with We Natal, right? It's like, you know, there's nothing wrong, but you know, there's a lot more that could be right. There's a lot wrong here. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with a 3.7. Personally, just throwing that out there. Feels like kind of a random number, but it's a 3.7 for me.
I love it. Feels like a well thought out number. So
Yeah,
that's good.
any night
Yeah,
on.
I'm pretty low. Did you go, Jack?
I went 4.5. Yeah,
Four
I
or
went
five?
4.5. The only thing that what would have got it lower is because you can't hate the brand on the. I know we're all about the shipping. It's more about the warehouse, but like, if there was a little something wrong with that shirt, that would have been the lowest score I have given so far. That would have been
Yeah.
lower too. That would have been like a 1.5 for me. If anything was wrong with the shirt inside of it, I would have said,
Yeah.
you know, call, get a refund, do whatever you have to do. I mean, just if you're a germaphobe, even coming from the refund department kind of kills it for me too. Like Clarence's point, like that loses me. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a 3-3. I'm going real low on that one. And I
Right.
get to see it a little more than you guys do as well. So which is a little cheap. But yeah, I just know it wasn't even in a poly mailer. Like at least put the thing in, or like a not a poly mailer, it's shipped in a poly bag, but it like you'll see when I show you guys bird dogs, like a little bag, you know, inside that just kind of protects it a little bit. So there we go. We are coming cooking up on time. So I want to we talked about shipping rates a little bit. If anybody has any questions about shipping and parcel and like how does zone skipping work and what does go through there and how do I do this? And what data do I need to prepare? Like, honestly, reach out. We don't have to even have a meeting. You can just chat through email. It's totally fine. Like, it's all good. But sometimes it's helpful to get on a quick call too and just chat through that stuff. But negotiating shipping rates, I'm just always a big fan of and a proponent of. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do to help try to bring down your costs, and that's what we can help out with. So listen, this is an unorthodox unboxing, and the reason being is it was a birthday gift that was sent to me, and so I didn't know when it was bought. I didn't know how much it cost. I don't know any of that stuff. But I was like, hey, we do these, and I opened the box already just so it's worth, because I wanted to wear the pants. Okay, so sorry about that, but that's what happened. I need them for golfing, and that's what happened. But that being said, I was like, hey, I want to show the team here and all the people that join and are, the group here. Like, when we talk about packaging and like branded cardboard and like branded this and branded that, it's like, this is kind of a cool deal. So I want to show you guys. So Bird Dogs, if you're not familiar with, they were on Shark Tank. They're like basically a cool branded, pant, but they do a lot of other, they're starting to get into shirts and expand their stuff and do the whole deal. But this is the box it came in. So cool box, Bird Dogs on here, Bird Dogs here, colorful. Yeah, pricey box, but it's nice. Jenny, for sure. Cool sticker, right here with some branded sticker here. And I open it up, and I got a cool little story going on. So one of the things that drives the CEO is Mark Cuban said on Shark Tank, and you guys can't read it, but it said,
Grant,
yeah.
you might want to stop sharing your screen just so that it's, we can all
Oh, so I
see
can actually show you guys a little bit better. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Hey, buddy.
Yeah,
That's why I brought you on the webinar today. That makes sense. All right. So cool box. Right. Cool colors. Got the branding here, Bird Dogs, kind of all over the place. But you open it up, and I got like a cool story inside too with a bunch of quotes. And one of them is like Mark Cuban said on the show. He's got him sitting here. Incredible product, but that juvenile attitude will never sell. Right. Like, that's right here when he walks in. And then there's a CEO who's Peter. He's got his quote underneath the product when you open it. Mark Cuban is a dusty old queef. Don't listen to him. Apologize for the profanity, but there's just a lot of different like quotes in here that I think help motivate the business, and it just gives a really neat feel. And then this is the bagging that I was talking about. It's like what this other brand could have done. Foco could have done something like this, where I would have been like, okay, listen, it came from the returns department, but what, pretty neat here that you could have just felt protected. So I just wanted to give everybody kind of a view. Curious how much that costs given all the different texts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know off my hand, but I can definitely find out. I can bring that back for you guys, because we have some box people that, it'll be a decently sized box. I mean, Bird Dogs are relatively, I don't know, I forget the costs off the top of my head what they are. But they believe it covers their margin, and they do their thing. They're a pretty big company, so a little different than all of us too sometimes, as far as like size and all those things that, sometimes you just don't have the financial to get into this. But I think that this is something that like creates repeat buying, repeat purchasing. So I just wanted to share it with everybody, and I thought it was pretty cool. I will take the takeaways and try to get the cost for that, and we can go from there. So
Yeah,
all right,
we can bring that to next week's episode 8. So
there you go.
you guys will be there. Yeah.
$119 for them. So
Well, I'm still gonna score it, I'm gonna take off 2 just because I don't know anything about the shipping experience. And that's,
yeah,
I mean, obviously they have a good grasp on their brand. My first actual thought, to be honest with you, is like, are you disqualifying people with like the quotes that you choose? Honestly, sometimes, but it's like that is kind of, I guess, I have friends come up to me all the time and say, I love Bird Dogs. You got to try Bird Dogs. You got to, go buy some of their stuff. And it's probably a lot because of, what they choose to leverage their marketing,
yeah. There was a packing slip, Jenny. Yeah, they definitely had a packing slip in there for the product as well. So
So the
all right,
fashion, I don't know, but I'm gonna give it 7.5.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think someone put in here how much the pants cost. I think I saw
Yeah,
$119.
119. Yeah.
119. So, if you're paying $119 for a pair of pants, it better come in a nice package.
You're right.
And at the same
Yeah.
time, too, if you're paying $30 for, a Knicks t-shirt, right? It should also come in a nice package. But so I think that, given the price, like this is what you would expect. I can't really, I feel like I give it a justifiable score because we don't know what the actual cost was and what shipping was and how long it took to arrive. But just off the packaging alone, like I think that's an 8.5. So I'm really happy with the packaging. One other thing that I think is worth mentioning too, I don't know if anyone's ever ordered Gooder sunglasses. I think we should maybe order some for one of the next episodes.
I love them.
Packaging, it was an amazing experience. I bought a whole bunch of sunglasses from them. So that's all.
Love it. Love all that. Yeah, I want to we're up on time, so I want to, I'm gonna go. I like the 8.5. I think I'm there as well. I'm an 8.5. I mean, it feels premium. You do pay premium product, but it's cool. I'm a big fan. But I don't think they get to qualify for, the overall winner, in my opinion, because it's kind of just threw them in there as just like a thing.
I
So
was about to say Rack Pack is at an 8.2. So
yeah. So I think that's the big winner for today.
yeah, Rack Pack, well done. Well deserved. And I learned some stuff from the way that you packaged today. I know we're right at time, so I appreciate everyone for even staying 1 minute over. But Brandon, if you want to throw up, I put it's Brandon at shipcom.com. So if anyone wants to send him an email, do so. Deed, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that raised your hand to have some packaging audited. Episode 8, we're always looking for new people that want to participate. So send Brandon an email. We'll buy some of your stuff. You can send us some stuff, and we'll all be here next week. So Mark, thank you so much for being here. Jenny, I hope to see you next week. You're the best. Penny, everyone for coming on. It was wonderful, and thank you so much, Wyatt, for joining as a co-host for Welcome Stranger, and for ShipCom for sponsoring the webinar. Really had a good time.
Take care, everyone.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
See ya.